that extra effort in to get into the money as we enter into our fourth and final game of Week 3 NPL Contenders. We see the playing path coming out from the southern islands of Novka, Military Island, going to be starting off that playing path and then kicking it up to the northwest, ending just shy of Zarki. Seeing Overconfident drop down immediately, though. Looks like they're going to be going straight back to Military Island, at least a place that's comfortable for them on Aragold.
Yep, everyone's making this drop, excuse me, this flight path work for them in their drop. Reinvent, as we keep seeing, splitting up, but I mean, I guess they're not really a threat at this point. With their performances thus far, I guess no one's really going to be needing a hot drop on that to get them out of second place. I think we've already done a good job. They've done it themselves, essentially.
They certainly have. The plane has kicked everyone out of the cargo hold, and now these players, 60 of them to be exact, are left to their own skills, their own strategies to hopefully get them into that chicken dinner spot at the end of the game, at the end of the evening.
That's right. We are in our last map of the day, Erangel, and this first phase is not too shabby.
Not too shabby. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the plane paths have been pretty good. This one a little bit more skewed than the first three of the evening, but not so much as to put a huge wrench in the plans of these teams competing here in a nice circle as well. To boot, going to be centered around that ruins area, at least for right now. The channel, the river coming out of Yasnaya leading over towards the west near Georgia Pole will be implicated, and we certainly know how much of a choke point that position can be.
You remember when, did you ever, early PUBG days, land in military base?
I was in the early days.
Yeah.
When Millie was popping.
Yes.
I was the guy. You know, Lucy, I was playing with some of these guys, and I was the guy that was like, guys, Millie, every time I'm going to the array tower, and I'd fall, my parachute would clip, and I'd, you know.
Oh no, you were that guy.
I was that guy. Safe res.
Good job, Phil.
Yeah, safe res is a big word or phrase in my vocabulary.
Statement. Mm-hmm.
People that know me, people that played with me.
Oh really? Are they lies?
I'm very aggressive as a player, and then I love to yell safe res. That's
are you safe though? Are they lies or are they genuine, or are you just really more wanting just to be up on your feet again?
So for sake of someone watching that I might be playing with in the future, it's always the truth. And I'm a clinch player for my team, so you should pick me up if you see me dead. Regardless though, I mean, I know many teams feel the same way. Lucy, you're certainly like that as well.
You know, I understand the value of the team, the squad, having to move forward and leave me behind if it is not safe to res me. In most cases, yes, absolutely. My instinct is, get me up, safe res, but...
You can't say get me up, you just gotta say safe res.
Okay, my bad.
Just safe res.
That's how much of a
casual
casual player I am.
Get me up implies that, you know, there's some urgency, right? Like there is some.
I am urgent. You know? It's urgent. Get me up. That was what I was implying. But we see crew actually at the top there. They've got, I mean, I don't know what that is, like about 15, 20% of the map just spread out, looting their hearts out. I guess they know that no one's in the vicinity.
I mean, here's the thing. They've got the benefit of hindsight looking back at these maps. Not a lot of time for these players in between the games, but enough to check a VOD out real quick, make sure that they can do some drop analysis before they go into these incredibly important final few games, not just of the evening, but of the season. I mean, one game, it's huge, and we've seen what 1 or 2 games can do for players.
Oh, yes, we have. Look at your ego popping off, moving up halfway up the leaderboard in just 2 games.
Interesting rotation already. Sonic's being a little bit faster with this, or at least the scouts. Sonic's landing in this school apartments area, not an area that's unfamiliar to them, but just up to the north, we're starting to see some rotations off of Halo Klein Gaming. Joker, he's found himself amongst some enemies, and if I'm not wrong, I believe he's told his teammates, guys, I need some support, and here they come, wrapping around the eastern side of Watertown. Now we're on the southern side, then hopefully reuniting in this cube-like compound. The vehicles, they will be heard though. Halo Klein Gaming in a 2-2 split, so it doesn't have the full force to help them if this engagement does pop off, but does have at least the benefit of being in Watertown, a lot of areas to hide and get some line of sight breakage.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of the Halo Klein we've been seeing, is that they like to stay in their safe space, if you will, and they don't want to take an engagement unless they are forced to. But as I say this, we've got Gunner trying to posture up and try to perhaps figure out where some of these players are. He's, you know, his namesake is, my name is Gunner, I'm going to find you, and Gunner you down. Was that bad? He's like, no, it was good.
Well, I'll tell you this. He definitely is named Gunner for a reason. Gunner, a veteran of the United States Armed Forces, did serve as a machine gunner on a helicopter, I believe it was.
Ooh, so he knows how to shoot well with IRL and in PUBG.
Yeah. So big shout out to Machine Gunner. But yeah, name's got a purpose. You know, some players they have no rhyme, no reason behind their name, but others they've got a lot of background, and it's cool.
Yeah, that's really neat. Great support there to our nation.
Ooh, yeah.
Player One Esports. Just kind of holding down in that little area. We're moving down in the military area. Overconfident. Got to go ahead and scoot on out of military. Trifecta probably going to do their rotation over the East Bridge.
Yeah, not a bad rotation for these two teams. They have to make it, but they've kind of gotten comfortable down on Sosnovka Island. I think Overconfident knows Trifecta isn't going to push into us. They know that we drop here. They saw us parachute down from the plane, but really no contention, and they don't need to. So it's smart play. It's not hyper aggression that has no reason. So good to see, at least for the time being. But Halo Klein's got to do something here. Gunner's maneuvering his way around this area like he knows that danger is close. I wouldn't put it past Halo Klein knowing now that Loki is pushing off of this southern edge, but they haven't called in Duck or Kaisuko across the road just to the north.
Yeah, I guess Kaisuko and Duck are going to hold that backside to try not to let anybody collapse down, but also hold a high edge on top of any low-key player that does happen to peek out. Gunner and his teammate there, they're just going to hold that side. And Mr. Blown Apart is going to get that long sight. I guess that Holo's got some major sights going on. It was a joke, because obviously we know that the holographic sight does not. Anyhow, here we go. Reinvent.
Sonics continue on this path, making the rotations closer and closer to center, and now they're going to be finding that footing, finding those shots that we know them to make. And Landoon with the Mini 14 able to take out Greg's shot of Reinvent. A nice early kill, the first blood here of game number 4.
Yeah, we see, speaking of this head-to-head with Halo Klein and Low Key, Sonic's going to be moving in just nearby. Reinvent holding down that one compound. I mean, Sonic's clearly doesn't realize that they're situating themselves between a whole bunch of teams. However, they are in at least a more central positioning on the map in this new zone, so that will benefit them as long as they can get out of the open here.
And they're going to be able to do a pretty strong compound, a compound that we have seen teams in both leagues play pretty well off of. And I think this is really a product of Sonics recognizing the fact we've made late rotations in games 1, 2, and 3. We've got to come back here in game 4 and get out of our loot location early. A crate dropped on top of school. They didn't even open it, Lucy. They maybe didn't see it, maybe didn't care enough about it. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but they definitely pushed in fast. They wanted to favor, or rather prioritize, a centralized location and not be caught playing edge trying to catch up.
Yeah, we've definitely seen being central favoring outcomes for teams much more so than playing it a little more on the edge. So here we are, we have Sonics there next to Reinvent. Everyone's just gonna be coming in, holding down, let go your ego, waiting. Crew, Waldo of Crew driving in. Gotta love that skin.
Gotta love it. I remember when it first came out, right before PGI 2018. Everyone's like, what is this Dacia with the flames on it? And
it's the only way to roll in a Dacia, right?
I agree. That was a spicy addition, and I'm glad that it stayed around in the esports mode. Hard spawns are going to be those vehicles. So if you see that vehicle, it is a hard spawn, at least in these competitive settings that we are utilizing. Next shrink is out, though. The river out of Yasnaya over towards the west still going to be in play, which makes Team Crew's position, at least in Cube, not as bad had it shifted all the way down to the south. They're still going to be in a spot to hold a gatekeeping position. Mystery spread out, currently in a 3-1. Maybe trying to hide out on the southern side just in case that shift happens. Hold off any teams from choking out the remainder of a squad.
Well, if you look down a little bit more on the south, we see Dave, Mustache Dave, and Overconfident, two of our top teams here, colliding into each other in this open Gatka area. The chase is on. We're seeing a lot of this for sure in the competitive scene with these car chases. Looks like they're actually, Stab is going to pull off of that. You just chased them off, said, this is our area, we're going to hold this down.
Well, he needs to pull off of it because his teammates are running right into Gatka, right into the members of Player One Esports. Trevor now dropped down to about 40% HP, trying to get out of there, but the SKS shots continue to ring true for Aguila, dropping down Trevor to 10 HP. His teammate Dietrich with the Mini 14 finds the fatal shot onto Trevor and out of the U as he goes.
Oh my goodness, they were just scrambling. They just didn't know what was going on. There was a slew of vehicles running through by Mustache Dave, Player One Esports in the distance. It's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Trevor, he's gone. 3 remaining players for Overconfident, while Player One Esports is just sitting pretty with a kill in their pocket.
Well, they almost didn't have that kill in their pocket because the members of Denial out here to the northwest spotted out Trevor bleeding out in the middle of this field. They put a lot of damage to him in the bleed out phase, but it wasn't enough. Dietrich found that last final shot, however much he needed to do in terms of damage. He did enough, and it finds himself that 1 kill point.
It's nothing more triggering than having somebody either first already elude your bullets when they should be gone, but then when someone actually takes your knock and the kill in this kill heavy favored game type, the meta.
Trifecta making that rotation, trying to find an entry into phase number 2 around that Gatka bend on the southwestern side of what has now become circle number 2. Feeling some pressure, hearing those shots from Player One Esports. It's going to continue them on this path around that far western edge. And all things considered, if they continue on this path past Everest, they're not going to be in a terrible spot unless they have to continue in towards the center.
Well, unless GG Well Played happens to see them out, that once they do hit that zone, it is pretty open. They will have some trees that will cut a little bit of the sight line from Everest, the top there. But, as you said, depending on where the circle does end up going, will depend on their demise or not. On the east side here, we see Sonic split. What do we got? We got Yaxley all up in with the entire squad of Halo Clan Gaming, who's still holding Watertown down.
A straight shift. I'm not exactly sure why Yaxley would move from that compound that they were holding so dominantly with 4. And now he's in a pretty tough spot right next to Halo Clan Gaming. But speaking of being in a tough spot, it's going to be the member of Elevate, Godku, down here in the ruins trying to hide from the members of, well, Loki Gaming, Rello, Joker, Mr. Blown Apart, and Fignaldo. But in doing so, his position is going to be revealed to the happy campers. Thankful for foliage, he is going to be undetected, at least for Charity for right now. Next circle shift comes up. The river still going to be in play on the northern side of things, which means in circle number 4, the water ratio gets implicated. The circle has to shift as far away from water as statistically possible, which means down to the south we're going to be going. Any teams up here to the north will not be favored by this next circle shift, and these players know it. They're going to have to be playing off of this strategy.
Lego Yard's ego having to make the move, knowing this first shift here is going to, well, they're not even in it in the first place, so they need to get in, but Crew is going to be shooting them from behind, and they're going to be retreating back to the compound to try to regroup. We've got Trifecta coming in around the corner as well as they're trying to make their rotate into the new circle.
Good rotation from Trifecta, exactly what they needed to do, at least to be safe in the previous circle. But will they be able to get through this massive choke point now being presented by not only Lego Your Ego, but also Team Crew? Now GGWP going to be putting out some shots, and this forces Trifecta to cross that western bridge going up to North George and make that far rotation. This could potentially sit Trifecta back in the long run, given the fact that this water in the river leading out of Yasnaya will push this circle down in phase 4.
If they can make it all the way over east, see that bridge still in play north of Rozhok, kind of swoop down through there, come up behind Reinvent perhaps, or just even that area might even become open for them. And there's a lot of dip and defilade to work with over in that area. Sonics, Tony V, you're going to be pulling in a vehicle, beep beep.
I mean, what you have to do, though, you've got to protect those vehicles. They know that Halo Clan is close. So if they've got to make that rotation based off of our next shift, if it hard shifts all the way down to the south, which it potentially could, Sonics can get out of there. If they get out of there faster than Halo Clan, it's going to be good.
But I mean, if you got to think, if Halo Clan's going to just sit passively, could that be a fight you want to take on? That's 4 points right there.
Well, they're not going to be passive because Sonics decides to bite off a little bit more than they could chew. They bombed into Watertown. They were safe in the garage building, but right into Machine Gunner. If Halo Clan Gaming goes Yaxley, knocked down and out of the game he goes, leaving his team with 3 remaining. As now Landoon caught in a bit of a tough spot. A lot of eyes going to be looking at him from the members of Halo Clan out of these buildings.
Yeah, one of these teams are making it out of that Watertown. if Sonics even tries to drive away, Halo Client's going to have a good line of sight, perhaps on to the fleeing Sonics players. What's happening here? I think they're just going to have to take this engagement.
They're going to have to do something, that's for sure, because this shift will be happening in about 20 seconds. And again, it will be shifting somewhere down south, at least off of that far northern part of this circle. Lego Your Ego now working their way in off that western edge, dangerously close to the members of Denial Esports. But I mean, at this stage in the game, Lucy, everyone should have enough room to sit comfortably without crashing into these engagements. It's going to quickly change here as we see this shift.
Yeah, maybe, Lego Your Ego driving in, making a lot of noise. Denial waiting for them to stop, has popped some fire onto them over here with Landoon. And he's just holding this edge outside of this wall while the 4 of Halo Client Gaming is just going to kind of, figure their route out of here.
I mean, you have to think with this circle shift, though, look how devastating this might be for Halo Client.
Yeah.
They've effectively been pushed out. But if the other members of Sonics can wrap around and support Landoon, they can gatekeep the members of Halo Client trying to work their way in. It doesn't look like they're going to be making that sharp turn in towards Landoon, but they are trying to get up on that position on the northeastern side.
Yeah, well, here we are with Low-Key. Says, we were over here just a little bit ago. We know there were some bodies and it looks like the party is still happening. Maybe we want to get involved.
Party's still happening. Seems like parties are happening all over the place. Lego Your Ego had such a great day, and now they're finding themselves in a bit of an engagement. Third line, the Godnator himself is still going to be up and alive, taking blue zone damage, but has Zydus to help him out, trying to maneuver this terrain, possibly even trying to get his teammates up. But third line going to be dropped down as well. Now Zydus, the only remaining member of Lego Your Ego currently alive. If he goes down, that's going to be Lego Your Ego in a drastic shift of performance here in the final game of the evening. Maybe a little bit of complacency, maybe a tough time in making these rotations, but regardless, they found themselves in this tough spot. How can Zydus get them out?
Well, we see Lego Your Ego has one up. Denial also left to one up. Looks like Tetra is needing to heal. Completes the kill on third line. And Lego Your Ego, Zydus, and Tetra of Denial are going to go ahead and move into the... Oh my goodness! Tetra of Denial gets spotted by Adam of the Happy Campers from across the way, and he's gone. So Zydus is going to cleanly be able to escape and make it into this new zone unless the Happy Campers is able to get a line of sight on him.
And this northern side of the zone is not looking friendly at all. A lot of teams have started to congregate on these edges. Halo Client, hell, they've been there the entire game. Landoon going to be knocked. Sonic still working with Tony V and Smithy a little bit further south as Trifecta starts to collide in on some of the members of Low-Key. Rello caught out behind his other 3 teammates, going to quickly be down by the members of Trifecta. But now this commotion is drawing so many eyes up here towards the northern side of things that Fignaldo was able to find a connection on the Hades. SLR shots ringing true, and out goes one of the dominant members of this Trifecta squad. Now Halo Client Gaming going to be lending a hand in this as well.
And Landoon was taken out by Halo Client Gaming. You know what? I missed that, so I'm gonna scratch that myself. But Trifecta hanging out up at the top, trying to make their way in. It's looking pretty dim for them as Filthy is the last man standing. Not going to be able to get Nitrogen up at this point as GG Well Played, Dexy of GG Well Played is waiting for him to come around this corner.
Last man standing, Filthy trying to maneuver this ruined area of the hill. He's going to be spotting out Dexy. Nicely placed shots will be landing a headshot, forcing Dexy completely off of his position. 40 HP onto the hands of GGWP's Dexy. He's going to be completely caught out, this time by a third team. Cruz, Waldo finds the Mini 14 shots, finds the connections, and down goes another member of this squad.
Filthy doing a great job moving into the next zone, but of course the remaining members of GG Well Played is waiting to take him out. Look, they're making this push.
But Filthy has found some cover here in the ruins. For all intents and purposes, again, a great spot for a solo player to be. A lot of spots to hide, a lot of spots to catch your enemy opponents out, and then remaneuver, disengage, and try to do the 1v3.
Yeah, it's getting very messy in ruins right now, and all the while we've got Elevate just sitting pretty in a compound. Trifecta finally spotted out by Finna of GG Well Played. Trifecta going out at 14th.
Nades being prepped by Loki's Joker right now. Going to be missing their mark, but Finna sees it. He's going to be pushing into it almost immediately and finds the shot as Loki continues to swarm around this. But they've got to be worried about these several other teams up here on the northern side of the circle. Mr. Blown Apart throwing some nades, trying to do exactly what his name implies, rather, on the Halo Climb. Blow them apart, but Relo going to be knocked once again. The second knock, this time by Mustache Dave. Mustache Dave in the ruins. They're not sitting by idly. They're not going to let these teams here in the north push, and it's become an absolute chaotic fest.
That it has. Loki had seen. They were going to make that push on GG well played when they heard those shots go out, but Dalton was able to spot out the squad of Halo Klein moving and converging down on top of them, pulling Mr. Blown Apart back, saying, you know, we've got some guys on our north, so let's be careful here, and they're actually going to choose to disengage.
Smart disengage. They need to do it, but action continues to pop off around the map. Happy Camper is going to be encroached on by Team Crew. It continues to wrap around this southwestern side of the circle. Happy Campers set up Charity down to 30 HP, trying to get some smokes out, trying to get some frag grenades out as well. Whatever pressure can be applied, he is going to be tossing it in their direction. But here comes the follow-up. Adam, nice grenade going to be coming out, knocking down one of the members of Team Crew. Vac down and out.
You see that Ego there, that waffle you're talking about with that frag, just hanging out in the distance, just letting all the chaos ensue around him as bodies are dropping between the Happy Campers and Crew.
Charity unfortunately ran on top of that grenade. Probably no way in hell he could have avoided that, being that it was inside of the smoke, but they still have 3 of their members up trying to maneuver this western side of the zone. It's incredible that no one has been wiped out. These teams very tactically playing this. No one wants to be going out in these 0 placement points.
Yeah, we just saw Player One Esports go down in the south area in a skirmish with Overconfident, and Zenith pinched on top of them, and now the remaining players of those 2 teams, Overconfident and Zenith, going at it as they're trying to make their way into the next zone.
Rift's going to be spotted out through a bit of ground cover, some foliage on the ground, giving him, I guess, a little bit of cover, but not enough. Roth lands the SLR shots, puts Rift in a prone position to get some meds off and stalls the rotation a bit, but now comes the third-party shots. Reinvent, CeeLo up to the north, able to get some good damage, some good pressure applied onto the members of Zenith Esports, and there's a nice shot. 81 damage coming out of the gun of CeeLo, and he's able to get a knock on a Kendo as well. This is CeeLo that we know from the old Team Gates roster that got him all the way to PGI Berlin to play in the Global Championship, and that's it. A few more shots come out. Down goes the entirety of Zenith Esports in 12th position. 10 teams remaining.
Yeah, we have Overconfident just to their west. Oh, Lego Your Ego going out at 11th. It was a fine run, but it had to end. And back to the Happy Campers here, eyeing up the team of Crew.
Yeah, they've known Team Crew has been down here. They pushed them off of this position. Mustache Dave going to be finding the 2 remaining members of GGWP up to the north. Out they go, leaving us with 9 teams remaining. But now Los HD and Godspeed, they've got to make a decision. Do we push into Team Crew, where we know another team is just up the hill down to the south, putting out pressure?
Absolutely. Kills, kills, kills. That's what you need to do right now. If you've got some shots going down, especially if you feel like you've got some good cover on your side, you're able to give a little peek action to some unsuspecting faces that could be just over yonder, definitely worth your while.
Charity just getting rained down with even more nades. That nade coming out of that connects with 80 damage, and that's going to be Leda finishing him up. A nice little knock, and then a huge kill coming out on top of the Happy Campers. Leafy going down as well. It's just going to be Adam and Spray trying to do whatever they can. Leafy going to be flushed out of the game. Now truly, down goes Adam. A 1v4 situation against the members of Team Crew, and he's not going to be able to do anything here. Spray is just essentially doing that, spraying out the bullets, trying to find the connections, and here comes Team Crew up the hill. 1 crest, and it could be all over for the Happy Campers, but Spray holds them off for now.
Yeah, I mean, Crew was just like, Elevate, thank you. That really helped. We've got 1 left of the Happy Campers, but Crew is going to be holding real strong there as they're just going to wait for Spray to make himself visible just enough, because it's not going to be looking good for him here, but Elevate is looking over from yonder in the compound. Happy Campers eliminated in 9th.
Pax, Tiggleton, and Crew able to find the damage On to spray out go the Happy Campers, but 8 teams still remaining in commotion up towards the northeast as Loki Gaming is colliding with Halo Klein in the dip, putting on a ton of damage. The second knock coming out, Mr. Blown Apart and Fignaldo making quick work of the members of Halo Klein. Now just one person left. It's going to be Gunner down in the prone position, able to find the quick knock, a 1v1 between Gunner and one of the members of this squad. The damage is being applied. Fignaldo has to do something, and he is able to at least avoid the damage. Mr. Blown Apart and Fignaldo, huge play.
Oh my goodness, in the northeast was Halo Klein low-key going at it, but then Mustache Dave very close to them, could have put down shots, but instead, a team further than that, Crew, took a couple of heads from that distance. Godspeed and Los sitting back, and they are going to just try to survive this as they've got to make a long push into this next zone.
Well, they're not the only team that has to make a long push. 5 teams to be exact up on the northwest, north, and northeastern sides of our previous circle have to make the push, and they are going to be trying to do whatever they can basically to survive. It's going to become a story of survival because Overconfident and Elevate, they're already secured inside of the circle on the east and west respectively, and the damage will be applied. These are 2 teams that you don't want to be going up against when they've got the favor.
Yeah, we've got a solo Fignaldo holding up on the edge of blue in the northeast. 2 players of Sonics are going to be pushing in. They felt like they're going to have a good opportunity here, and coming up on Steezy, the last member of Reinvent.
The shots come out. Steezy was able to get a lot of damage on the Smithy, but the third party from behind, Fignaldo, comes from the backside and is able to wipe out Sonics. Out they go. 5 teams now remaining. Teams are dropping left and right. Fignaldo goes down. Loki eliminated in 6th position. Steezy, he doesn't know what happened. He thinks there's still going to be enemy players coming off of this position. He doesn't know his flank is clear, but speaking of flanks not being clear, it's going to be Mustache Dave, now just Godspeed, a solo player trying to combat Team Crew, who's already had an outstanding performance in this mid to late game of game number 4. Out goes Godspeed and down goes Team Mustache Dave. 4 teams remaining, and Elevate is starting to feel this final circle. They split off into the 2-2 split. They know that they're a strong team, but can they execute off of this strategy?
Wow, Pax and Gaku of Elevate, they moved out of the compound very confidently to try to take and capitalize on what they were hoping was a crippled team nearby. All 4 of Crew able to get back up, moving into the zone, and Elevate moving in as the blue is collapsing in on him. Oh, and Reinvent goes down at 4th.
Reinvent goes down. Steezy going to be caught out, but Team Crew in an interesting position, possibly going to be caught out by Pax and Godku if the lines of sight present themselves. But who needs lines of sight when you got Tiggleton up on top of one of the roofs of the yellow houses here just to the south of Ruins? A very popular place to at least crash when the circle is in this area early on, and it has been paying off dividends for the squad members of Elevate.
Yeah, what's happening with Crew? I see them on the overhead, and they're just seem very pressured by the blue and versus the open, right? It's not enough cover, and Elevate is capitalizing on it right now.
They sure are, pretty much making it easy for Overconfident to probably secure a nice 2nd place finish here in the final game of week number 3, but it's not over yet. All 3 teams still remain, still at least in position to try to claim that number 1 spot, but Team Crew is just in a bad spot to have to make this rotation. Leda feels all the pressure being applied, tries to get that head down below some deflade, but also has to remember, I've got to advance my position. Smokes are down, trying to give them line of sight blockage from those rooftops where Elevate has been poised.
3 teams left, 9 players alive, all 4 of Elevate still up and ticking. Rift going to be moving into this zone, taking a center position here. Keenan now knows is essentially clear. You see there's only 3 teams left. You hear them where they are. So you essentially know that your south side is clear, and Rift is holding tight, waiting for his teammate to come in.
So it's a 2v2 v4, now a 2v1 v4, as Overconfident gets absolutely wiped out. Help from both Elevate as well as Team Crew. 2 teams now remaining. 2 members of Team Crew versus the 4 stack of Elevate. And Elevate has the position. They've got the hard cover to work off of, but it all comes down to whether or not Zach and Leda can push up to this little bit of deflate, this little bit of hill cresting up towards the building, but they're not going to be able to. That's going to be back, drop down. Leda trying to do the 1v4, trying to do almost the impossible, but knowing that points are going to be coming from these kills. And so down he goes, a suicide, and a huge win coming in for Elevate. Their first win of the day, a good performance with 7 kills to boot.
Not too shabby. There they are.